Kitco News is still at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, and joining me now is another speaker from the show, Danielle-Park, author of Juggling Dynamite. Danielle, so nice for you to be with me again.
Hey, thank you, Daniela.
All right, Danielle, I want to talk to you a little bit today about the topic of money printing. This topic often comes up when we speak about gold, but you have a flip side. You say there could be another possibility. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I just, whenever I hear a consensus view or people saying, well, there's no choice but it'll have to go a certain way, I always think in my mind, well, that isn't necessarily true, so what are some other ideas? And the idea that I see most in the fore right now in the world with respect to this debt mess we're in is knocking off zeros. So I've sort of been saying that for a while, that it seems to me that the solution to too much debt is to write some of it off, but you're actually seeing that now play out in Europe, for example, where, this morning the debt talks are about a 70% haircut for bondholders. So you get into what the Bible calls these Jubilee years, where, and throughout history this has happened, where we get into too much debt in a culture or society, and ultimately those who lent the money lose money because they can't be paid back, and debt gets written down out of the system. In which case, I don't see that hyperinflation is necessarily the only outcome that could come of this, because as they knock off zeros, you take the drag off the world economy and things could actually settle down, albeit assets at lower values like real estate, stocks. A lot of this stuff will come down in price, which is maybe not what some people want. But from an investment perspective, that would be great, because then we would get more buyers able to participate, you'd get higher yields on your investments, and you'd get just a landscape where there's investment opportunities again, instead of just wacky speculation.
Right, that's why I guess it's impossible to determine where gold's headed, because there's just so many different possibilities, right? So you're not saying you're bullish or bearish, you're just saying there are other possibilities.
There are other possibilities, and I know one thing for sure. Gold will come to the end of a secular bull run. It will, because everything does, right? So the question is not if it's going to come to the end of a run, it's a question of when. And I obviously don't have any greater insight into the timing of that particular top. I note that presently, with the sell-off that happened in 11, gold's actually below that trend, that $1,700 resistance level that was in place since this whole, the multi-year expansion the last 9 years that it's been going up. We're actually below that resistance level now. So we could see, some more of that. If I'm right about 12 and we're into a global recession, I think levered players will sell everything they can, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you could see that hit all asset classes, which again always takes people by surprise, but that is the markets we're working with. They hugely correlated, they go up and they go down, and the sellers sort of take the charge in the downturn.
Wow, well, we'll probably get a lot of emails for that comment, but...
Why, because they don't want to ever think something can come to an end? This is life. We have to be used to ebb and flow and change.
Absolutely, Danielle, but you're saying you don't know when this could happen. It could be 1 year, could be 10 years.
Of course not. And I always like to say too that, if people have gold coins and bullion as part of their portfolio, and they're physical and they're in a safe somewhere and that makes them feel good, that's great. I'm talking about, don't expect paper asset versions of it to escape the selling once the margin clerks take control.
Finally, Danielle, you're a speaker here at the show. What will your topic be on? What's your message to attendees?
The talk I did yesterday was just on how to retain profits once you've got them, and to be aware that winter always follows from summer and fall. And I think we're heading into winter in 2012 in terms of world markets. And today it was more just evidence of the recession that I think is in all the leading indicators. And a lot of people are focusing coincident and lagging and saying, oh no, I think the U.S. will decouple. And I just don't see that in the evidence. I think the recession started in 11 in the Eurozone, the UK, and Japan, and I think North America is susceptible as we go into the first half of 12.
Wow, all right. Well, interesting thoughts from Danielle-Park today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Kitco News. Stay tuned to kitco.com for more coverage from the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference.